to the Kingdom of Wonder podcast. My name's Gabriel, and if you're new to this channel, this is a podcast that focuses on the arts, culture, and people of Phnom Penh and the Kingdom of Cambodia. I've come today to the beautiful Pavillion Hotel in the heart of Phnom Penh to meet with Egyptian, American, stand-up comedian on tour in Southeast Asia, Mr. Ahmed Ahmed. Yeah. Thanks for doing the podcast, man.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Welcome.
Thanks for picking me up, too.
Yeah. That's my pleasure,
man. This guy picked me up tonight at the bus station in a tuk-tuk, which doesn't surprise me, but thank you for doing that.
Yeah. It's an essential part of the Cambodian experience.
And how did you get caught up with the comedy in Cambodia team?
I happen
get caught up with you.
I happen to be funny enough, you know. That's just it. And they kind of let me fuck around. But I want to say welcome back to Cambodia.
Thanks.
Yeah, because this is not your first time here.
It's my second time, and when he picked me up, because we'd never met before tonight.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Hey man, you look great." I'm like, okay. He's like, well, I saw an interview that you did on your podcast like a year or so ago, and you know, you were a little I go, chubby? He's like, you said it, not me.
The point that I was trying to make was that he looks good. Yeah,
I lost weight.
He's looking better.
Typically you will lose weight when you're traveling through Southeast Asia.
That's right.
Especially, you know, where I've been, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam. It's super hot. It's super humid. So you're constantly sweating. So yeah, it's like the sauna workout. I'm not even exercising. I'm just sweating all the time.
That's true, man. You got to keep hydrated out here.
And I'm not eating a lot, which is interesting. Like I'm not a big eater anyway. I think I was probably bloated or whatever when you saw that interview, because it was during COVID, and I was just drinking a lot. Still am, but yeah, I feel like you're not like, I don't want to eat, like my appetite shrunk. I'll have breakfast, I'll have a light lunch, or I'll skip lunch and then I'll have like a light dinner, but I'm not eating a lot.
And typically, I think when you're traveling around, there's new things to try out, you know, things that you might not normally be eating. That's kind of exciting. I wanted to ask you though, you know, I think a lot of people might come to Cambodia and do this kind of thing, check it off their list and move on, but you're back. And I'm curious, what's good in Cambodia, man? What has you coming back?
You know, the people are so sweet. Out of all the countries I've traveled around in Asia, everybody's nice. I mean, for the most part, like all the countries I've traveled to, which is about 10 plus, excuse me, everybody's really sweet. I like Cambodia because I feel like I'm kind of stuck in time a little bit. It's got this, and there's like so much history. I went to the temples the last time I was here. I didn't go this time because I already saw it.
Yep.
But I went to the elephant sanctuary, which was majestic, beautiful, healing. I'm going through some personal stuff right now as well with like my family and all that. So it was some really good kind of spiritual healing, just literally walking with the elephants through the Cambodian jungle.
I'm gonna have to do that. Yeah, I have to try it out.
And see them reap. It's called the Kelun Elephant Sanctuary, Kelun. No, I'm not getting paid. I don't get endorsed. But I really had a beautiful time, and the tour guide was great. The way they have this like you prepare snacks for the elephant or elephants. So it's like sticky rice, banana, tamarind, salt, and bran. And you make like a ball out of it, and you feed the elephants. And then after they're done eating, they go walk with the handlers, which they call mahouts. And you walk with the mahouts and the elephants, and you just follow them around in the jungle. It's really, you know, you can't do that shit in Los Angeles.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be chill there, man. Not at all. You know, I wanted to get into this a little bit. Just because you are where you're from, you're an Egyptian American, it has you, I think, traveling to these places that aren't really used to comedy yet. They're still kind of incorporating comedy into their culture. And I think it seems to have turned you into a bit of an emissary of laughter. Is that something that that you feel going out off the beaten path to perform in these places?
Kind of, you know, everyone has this concept that comedy only exists in the US or the UK or maybe Australia. Those are the sort of top 3, you know, white markets.
Right.
And people don't realize there's comedy, like everybody likes to laugh. Whether you're in the Middle East, Southeast Asia. I haven't done sort of like the Eastern European route yet, but it definitely is a new frontier. I feel like more of the locals laugh at local material. And when American comics come to this part of the world, it's typically expats that come out. But yeah, you know, I don't mind calling myself a goodwill ambassador for comedy. Whether it's, I've performed in front of 4,000 people, I've performed in front of 4 people.
Yeah, yeah.
So these Asia shows that I'm doing, it's typically for expats. You might get a little sprinkle here of locals, but the crowds are small, maybe 100 less, you know? But they get it, you know? The internet has opened up the doors for everybody to kind of laugh at the same thing. And funny's funny.
Yeah.
People always ask me, like, does your material translate there? I'm like, yeah, funny's funny.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Plus I'm Egyptian, so they say dem khafif, which means in Arabic, light, we're light-blooded, we're light-hearted.
Yeah,
The Egyptians are kind of considered the comedians of the Middle East. I've been blessed, man. I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that Asia would be the new black for comedy. And it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I you know, I post quite a bit on social media and whatnot. And all my American friends, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, they always hit me up. Hey man, that looks so fun. And I want to check it out. And can you hook me up with your promoters? What do they pay? And I'm like, typically the pay is not great.
Yeah.
You don't do it for the money. But oftentimes, you know, they put us up in nice hotel resorts.
Yeah.
Pay for ground transportation and, you know, domestic flights and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you do it for more like the experience. It's like a paid vacation, and then you get to make people laugh on the side.
Right.
So,
right.
And then you spend all your money on beer.
The important things. Now, in your 2010 comedy tour documentary, Just Like Us, I remember there was a clip. I did watch it. I did the whole thing.
You did? Okay,
yeah,
wow. Most people have not. Thank you.
Well, it was great, man. I mean, I'll get into a couple of things about
research.
it. Yeah.
A lot of people don't do the research.
Oh, no. I want to be, I don't want to be caught with my pants down.
A lot of people, when I go in an interview or I talk to them, they're like, oh yeah, what have you done? I'm like, Google me, bitch. Like,
right. Well, there was a clip. There was a woman who got interviewed after the show, and it was in Saudi Arabia, and she was kind of saying something about the culture. She's saying, like, this is a place where it's weird when you smile at a stranger, you know, and here you are laughing, busting your gut in front of total strangers, and everybody's doing it. And I'm just wondering, I mean, that sounds major. Like, did you feel that from the stage? Is that something that...
Yeah, I mean, in the Middle East or in Asia?
Well, it's Saudi Arabia specifically is what she was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, going back to how the internet has opened the doors and changed everything. Everybody, it's a whole new world. I think people are just ready to laugh. Yeah. We live in some dark times right now. There's a spiritual war going on. And, you know, there are like 4 or 5 things I can count on my hand that keep the world going round and round. And I would say food, music, sleep, romance, love, sex, whatever, and laughter.
Yeah.
And if you can laugh at life, you know, then you're golden. Like my dad says it in the documentary. When you put a smile on somebody's face, Allah, God, gives you blessings. So I think people take advantage and disregard comedians sometimes, like we're kind of at the bottom of the barrel and lower than most artists because we don't, it pretty much goes like, A-list actors, directors, music composers or musicians, dancers, if you cross off all the artists in the world, it's like DJs then comedians. And when I say DJs, I mean like,
right.
Not like, was it Tiesto and shit
Okay. But at the same time, there's probably not a better cultural litmus test to see what's going on in a place than comedy. And maybe even more than a litmus test, I think that a lot of breakthroughs happen. I mean, you were making history in Saudi Arabia in Dubai with the first female comics to perform in Dubai, first female comic to perform in Saudi Arabia.
Whitney Cummings in Dubai and Nufi. I don't know, I think she lives in Canada now, but she was the first female comic, Saudi female comic. I like pushing the envelope and testing new waters. A lot of comedians get caught up in this sort of like box of like what you're supposed to do. And I've never followed that program, that model, that rule. I always like to go outside of the box, break the rules a little bit.
Yeah.
I've been banned from cities and countries because of my comedy. Thank God I'm alive. But, comedy is definitely like the new frontier of spiritual, I think, awareness and cross-cultural understanding.
I think, have you felt any of the reverberations from those breakthroughs that happened over there? Like, what are some of the stories that you've heard? I mean, what's gotten back to you?
From the Middle East, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, like I was banned in Dubai for a year over a joke, or two, actually. I was banned in Malaysia to this day, I don't know why. It's really the Muslim, and I don't want to say I hate to say it, but I'm just going to say it out loud. The Muslim religion, because I was raised Muslim, and I'm not a practicing Muslim, so Assalamu alaikum. But I don't answer to people. I don't answer to the constituents who tell me, oh, the book says this, and you have to. I answer to God. I answer to my own higher power. And I know I'm not perfect. And I know God knows that I'm not perfect. But I'm also not a liar, a cheater. I don't steal. I'm not a criminal. If you don't like my jokes, if you don't like my lifestyle, too bad. That's on you.
Yeah.
You can judge me all you want. I don't believe in your judgment.
Yeah.
I believe in his judgment.
Right.
So, yeah, that's how it goes for me.
Now, what do you see the role of something like what we've got going on here with the local comedy scene? What do you see our role as potentially being for Cambodia? And
it's you guys, the whole, not only Cambodia, all of Asia, but specifically Cambodia. I mean, there's huge potential for comedy to be like this new burgeoning, frontier for people to come out and just have a good, clean laugh. I did a show last night in Siem Reap at the Hard Rock. I told you the first 20 minutes, no one laughed. Like nobody laughed. And then about 25, 30 minutes in, I can't even remember the joke or the story I told. And then boom, there was this huge, I think everybody was kind of looking around like, is this okay to laugh at?
Yeah.
And then I think I did something that was so common for everybody. You know what? I know what it was. I did a true story about getting a pedicure at an Asian nail spa. And for some reason, everyone related to it. And it got this huge explosion of laughter and applause break. Like the whole crowd started like clapping.
Yeah.
And in my head as a comic, I'm like, finally, they got it. And I think that's what comedy does. You know, it's like again, food, music, it just brings people together.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, it's not even something that most people are aware of. Some people come to comedy shows and they're just like, they don't even know what to expect. Like a lot of people came out last night. I don't even know if half the people knew who I was. But I just came out guns a-blazing and throwing my jokes, and I was missing. And like I told you on the tuk-tuk ride over here, comedy's like surfing. So you really have to, you know, if you understand what a surfer does, they paddle out and they try to catch the wave, and sometimes they bail or don't catch it. And then you don't quit, you have to swim back out again.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting and it's tiresome. And then you finally catch that wave, that perfect wave. And the way with comedy, it's the wave of laughter. Mm-hmm. And then you can smooth sail through the whole experience, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's great. You have a joke about how the Jews actually built the pyramids, and the Egyptians.
That is true.
The Egyptians designed them and supervised. And I wanted to ask you if you had any advice for any Cambodian people who might be looking at different ethnic workforces for the next round of temples.
Yeah, Mexicans probably. Your people. Mexicans, you know, they just know how to work and build, and hardest working culture, I think, in the world.
Orale. Yeah, I can vouch for them. Because the Jews are not going to come out of retirement. It seems like they've been pouring themselves into wall maintenance these days.
Yeah, and media. They'll probably edit things.
You know, I'm happy to report to you that we're seeing some interest among Khmer people in starting to perform stand-up comedy here. And I wondered if you had some advice for Khmer.
When you say your people, you mean like the Latino culture?
No, I'm Khmer people, the Cambodians.
The Khmer,
the Khmer people.
Yeah.
So we have some interest starting, and I would like for you to offer some advice to Khmer people who are just getting started with comedy.
Yeah, I mean, are they doing comedy in Khmer?
No, in English.
In English.
Mm-hmm.
I would say watch George Carlin. I would say watch Eddie Murphy. I would watch Dave Chappelle. Try to figure out, don't copy them, but try to figure out their, their timing, because comedy is all about timing, cadence, waiting for the laughs. I've noticed a lot of comics like to throw a joke out, they get laughs, and they get excited, and they want to go right into the next joke. Let the laughs, sit in, absorb it, and take your time. If you have 5 minutes on stage, do 3.
Right.
And leave the other 2 for laughter.
Mm-hmm.
Let the laughs, trickle in.
Let them happen, yeah.
And write about what you know. If you're going to do comedy in Cambodia, by the way, comedy in Cambodia, just that, everything happens. They say comedy is like, what do they say, like the 3 Ks?
Not on this one.
There's an old comedy saying, if you end a story or a joke or a sentence, or start it with a K, or the sound of a K, the cut sound, that's comedy already. But comedy in Cambodia, or comedy Cambodia, there's something already there. And there's a lot to talk about here. I mean, this country, just coming here on the bus and just watching, I'm from Egypt, so, downtown Cairo it's a shit show. The traffic, the food vendors, the people peddling stuff. There's a lot to talk about here.
Right. Well, we're really looking forward to the show, and that's going to be tomorrow night.
We can talk a little bit more if you want. We got 10 minutes.
Okay.
We're trying to, the kitchen closes here. By the way, we're at the Pavillion, or Pavillion? Is it the Pavillion?
The Pavillion Hotel.
Pavillion Hotel in Phnom Penh, or Phnom Penh, as the British like to call it. It's a beautiful hotel. If you have not stayed here, come stay, man. It's really beautiful. We have a show tomorrow night at the SpeakEasy Theatre, and but their kitchen closes at 9:30. Last call 9:25. So we're going to try to get some food before they close, but we can talk for another 5-10 minutes.
Okay. You know, one of the things I can remember from Just Like Us, there was a guy who came up to you and he said, "I hated you."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I hated you. And right there in that moment, I could sort of draw a straight line between you performing in the Middle East and like Bill Hicks performing in Possum Ridge, Arkansas.
Yeah, same shit. You're always going to have somebody that's like triggered.
Yeah.
Bill Burr talks about that a lot. People that are triggered, they're sensitive. I mean, you saw what happened at the Oscars with Will Smith and Chris Rock. Don't go to a comedy show if you are not able to take or understand offensive material. Like, it is what it is. Like, don't swim with sharks. Don't go into the forest with bears. Don't put your hand in a beehive.
Yeah.
Don't touch the fire. Like, that's what comedy is. If you don't like it, just don't show up. You know, watch it on TV or on Netflix, and then be offended then and call HR or whatever. You know, somebody called 911 on me over a joke. I don't know if you...
I did, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I had somebody call 911 on Google, Florida man calls 911 on Muslim comedian. Happened in Naples, Florida in 2009. I don't want to ruin it for you. Just Google Florida man calls 911 on Muslim comic. And it was when President Trump was in office, and Naples, Florida is a very Republican, red state, right-wing, conservative, you know, area in Florida. And, you know, the cops showed up, and even the cops were like, "This is a first time for us."
Yeah.
Fucking me too. So everybody's just fucking sensitive these days. And, you know, I say this to everybody who's watching. If you cannot take a joke, or you're offended by a joke or what somebody says, do not buy the ticket, do not show up. Stay home where you belong, and that's it. And let us do our jobs, because this is what we do for a living.
But if you got a little sense of adventure, if you think you can listen to it,
if you can handle
deal with it,
come on out.
Come on out. It's going to be Saturday night, SpeakEasy Theatre.
Saturday night,
7:30 p.m. And you can go to Comedy in Cambodia's Facebook page and message them to reserve your ticket, because this show's going to sell out, and you're going to want to be there.
And shout out to JB. I gotta really hand it to JB, man.
Yeah, that guy's got it together.
This guy, I've dealt with promoters and producers and handlers all over the world. This guy JB is so Johnny on the spot. Sometimes I'll message him, and like, as soon as I hit send, boom, he hits me right back. I'm like, it's like he's behind me. He's like so fucking Johnny on the spot. So thank you, JB. Shout out to you. So shout out to JB, all the team, everybody involved with comedy in Cambodia. I really feel like there's a rising scene that could be successful and prevail here. Yeah.
We're working on it, man. We are. I'm curious, what's next for you after this tour? What are you going to do? Are you going to open your restaurant like you were talking about? I heard that you're good in the kitchen. I heard that you can cook.
Who told you that?
You did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a trained chef. I never went to culinary school. My mom my mom's just a great cook. My parents owned a restaurant for many years. I worked in the restaurant industry as a waiter for, when I lived in LA trying to be an actor, and I would wait tables at night and go to auditions during the day. I just like the restaurant industry. I like the culture. I like the camaraderie of food, music, drink, just people coming together. Like I said, food's one of the things that brings everyone together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if comedy doesn't work out, I'm gonna open a restaurant. I just love it. Sorry, what was your question?
Oh, what are you going to do after the tour? What are your plans?
So after Cambodia, so I'm here actually. So I just did Thailand. I was in Thailand for about 10 days. We did Koh Samui, Bangkok, Phuket, Hua Hin, and Chiang Mai. Mm-hmm. And then I came to Cambodia, did Siem Reap last night. Tomorrow, Phnom Penh. And then I'm off for like 10 days. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm just going to stay here.
Cool.
And just kind of chill out, maybe go check out the beach. I think you had a story you wanted to tell me.
Oh, yeah. I'll let you know about that later. Yeah.
And then after that, I'm off to Indonesia. I'll be in Jakarta, I think the show's July 14th. Then I go to Bali, Indonesia, July 15th. I'm going to spend a couple days in Bali just to relax. Then I go to Vietnam. I'll be in Saigon doing a show. Then I go to Hong Kong, July 22nd. And then I wrap up my tour in Singapore, July 23rd. We're doing a 1,000-seat theater. It's part of Umar Rana. Do you know him? He does Comedy Masala.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
So big ups to Umar. We're doing Comedy Masala with Ben Quinlan and a couple other comics, and it's a 1,000-seat venue in Singapore.
Wow.
Then I go back to the U.S. after that. So yeah, I will have been in Asia for a month and a half.
Nice.
And it's hot as fuck here, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty hot. Thanks a lot for your time. Guys, if you enjoyed this conversation, go ahead, comment, like, share, and subscribe. We're going to keep them coming for you. And I do appreciate your time, man. Really happy to have you here.
Pleasure, bro.